And today we have something that's pretty typical of the sign industry, and that's an FRP, fiberglass body box truck. And one of the things that happens is customers often buy these things used, and then they bring them to us to wrap them. And they get basically completely oxidized over time. You see what happens when you rub your hand across it. Basically, the oxidation comes out completely on your hands, which means if we try to apply our wrap graphics on top of this, they're going to stick to the oxidation, not to the surface. The oxidation will stick to the adhesive on the back of the product. The graphics will be ruined and they won't stick at all, and the job won't be able to be complete. So historically, the way we've dealt with this is a myriad of solutions, everything from cleaning to wet sanding to a marine fiberglass wax to even a fresh paint job. And that's great, but it's really not that practical. And that's why I was super excited when the guys at Brothers Chemical came out with this Ghost Off product. And what's really interesting about this is if they wet the whole surface of the truck down, and right now we're just letting our degreaser have some dwell time. We've given it a good hit with a nice soft brush, and gone ahead and done a rinse. And what's really interesting is just to demonstrate that although this does a good job getting it clean, it doesn't really take away the oxidation. I can still rub my hand across it. The water's completely white. Just have a small timer just went off. We've had this product on for a minute. We're gonna follow the recipe and see. Be sufficient, or if we need to see some oxidation coming off. It's rinsed down, and almost can't contain my excitement here, because after being in this business for 30 years, I don't think I've ever washed one of these trucks with the product and then have it have a surface that feels smooth and no more white oxidation coming off. And if you look at my blacktop and all down the curb line where the water drains, it's all white, which tells me that this took off a tremendous amount of oxidation. And not only that, but the fiberglass, instead of being a yellowish tinge, is now back to being white. So we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come out and do an adhesion test, and that'll be the final. All right, so it's Rick from Typestries, and I've got final results of the FRP box truck prep with the Brothers Chemical Ghost Off product. And I have to say I was quite skeptical that this was actually going to do what they say it's going to do, because for 30 years we've been fighting these vehicles, these FRP bodies, everything from having to wet sand to compound, and sometimes even as extreme as having to repaint them so that we can get graphics to apply properly. It's one thing to just throw some graphics on there and send the truck out the door. It's another thing to stand behind your work and make sure that what you put on isn't going to come off. And that's why we've been doing this for 30 years, because I tend to be sort of particular. So here's the first little test, just some blue masking tape. And let's see how well that's on there. Wow, that's really on there. And there's absolutely no oxidation whatsoever. Those of you that do these a lot know that when there's oxidation left and you peel tape, it turns the blue tape white because all the oxidation sticks to the tape. So it won the first test. Let's try with the real product. It's some 180 CV3 with 8518 gloss lam. This is pretty much our standard material in the shop that we use for all of our vehicle branding graphics. I just give it a quick little lay here, and we'll see what happens. It went down really nice. Doesn't seem to be curling or lifting at all on the edges like it normally would if there's a lot of oxidation. Let's give it a little peel. There's absolutely no oxidation on the adhesive whatsoever, and this is really on there. I'm super impressed. All right, well, if you're at all skeptical about Ghost Off, don't be. Just buy it. It really works. And thanks, Brothers Chemical. About this FRP box truck and the challenges that we face when customers bring these used trucks into us. What winds up happening is they come in super dirty, usually extremely oxidized. Not only do they not represent well for the customer's appearance, but it's also nearly impossible to get vinyl graphics to stick to the surface. So after a multi-step preparation process, including degreasing, washing, and using the Ghost Off product, we were able to get this FRP truck ready to accept vinyl. This is Avery Cast High Performance and some 3M Control Tack 180 CV3 with 8518 gloss lamb. The vinyl went down beautifully, and the end result is a truck that the customer can be proud of and really represents their company well out in the field. And that's exactly what we're after.